Bienvenidos a The Cuban Show. Hoy tengo una entrevista especial para uno de los candidatos a la campaña de la alcaldía de la ciudad de Louisville, en Kentucky, donde resido. Y quiero preguntarles y abordar sobre algunos temas que nos interesaría a nosotros en la comunidad cubana y por qué deberíamos votar por este candidato republicano. Ya lo tengo por acá, no lo voy a hacer esperar más y quiero darle la bienvenida al señor Steven Datilo. Él no habla español o habla muy poco español, pero a partir de ahora, bueno, vas a poder contar con subtítulos en la entrevista. Hey, how you doing, Sir Datilo, the D?
I'm doing great today, sir. I hope you're doing well.
Well, thank you for being here on the Cuban show and give me or give us the chance to introduce yourself to the community. As I say on the introduction, you are one of the candidates for the mayoral race in the city for the primaries in the 19th of May, the next May. So first, I want you to introduce yourself a little bit about your family background and what you do professionally speaking.
Okay. As my family goes, uh, my last name is Datillo. That's synonymous in Louisville with produce and groceries as far as family businesses go. My grandmother was of the Blandford family. She was also a pilot. The Blandford family was responsible for the city's beef. So you know, as a family, my people are familiar with feeding Louisville and keeping it from going hungry. Um, Datillo's Quality Fruits and Vegetables also led the charge on Kentucky Harvest, one of
Okay.
the original donators. Uh, it's this feeling of helping the community that I want to bring back to the culture that we're living. What I do now, I am a repairman. In one way or another. I've always repaired, uh, done everything from fixing people's problems to cars to computers to appliances to my own health situations. Um, Everywhere I go, I'm fixing something. So I'm just a repairman. I've worked consistently for Best Buy at the Geek Squad City for about the last 18 years as probably one of the most model repair technicians that they have in their
Mhm.
fleet.
Okay. So why you decide to run for the city mayoral race?
Because I look at the city and
Okay.
I see the problems. I see what's broken. I've watched it. I watched what caused it, and it's all fixable. It's all it's all able to be repaired and to go on into the golden dawn. We have the capability. We have the potential. We just have to redirect the culture away from what one would consider Marxist ideology
Mhm.
and bring it back towards promoting the nuclear concept of culture and family.
Okay. Well, as a fact, the Cuban community in Louisville, Kentucky, has grown pretty much in the last few years. And, Cubans are all against the Marxist ideology. And it's pretty good you say that to us because that's the first thing we're trying to see in a candidate. What's the ideology they are promoting or defending? And I'm more than glad that you let that pretty clear here in the interview. But I have a few more questions and a few more issues that I want to talk to you about it because especially on the Cuban community has been some issues that of course we didn't come to America to deal with those issues. And I'll start by the first one, which is pretty simple, and that's why we basically left our country, because the security and safety on the society. What's your plans, and what are your agendas to try to fix that in Louisville? Because in the recent years, we seem like increasing the violence in the city and crime.
Okay. Now, the crime statistics that we're experiencing in Louisville are probably worse than what we're seeing because of how most of the big cities have been taking steps
Mhm.
recently to change the definition of certain violations to reduce the visual severity. I've had conversations with many officers of the law and first responders about this. Um, it's also a problem that we're seeing with the cultural decline. I'm going to refer to cultural decline over and over again. Uh, since the lockdown, it's gotten worse tenfold.
Mhm.
And it's because that our leadership is not investing in bringing the infrastructure up to date. We're not investing in bringing high paying or at least blue collar paying jobs back to the city. They're not investing in bringing back the 24-hour economy. And this leads to desperation. On top of desperation, we also have a lack of police departments. And
Yes.
this leads to what I would technically refer to as a state of emergency. And I'm the one that's willing to say it. I'm not too proud. The good Lord beat pride out of me a long time. I'm not too proud to say it. City of Louisville is in a state of emergency, and we require the help from our federal partners. We cannot um, we cannot police our own streets. We
Mhm.
can't even keep the catalytic converters in the bottoms of our citizens' vehicles. We can't keep 9, 10, 11 year olds from performing armed carjackings in my district of 21, being led by Betsy Root. Um, there are many different causes, and I've been paying a lot of attention to the sources of these issues, and I plan on addressing all of them. We will be reaching out to our federal partners for assistance. We will start with filling the desks and getting our personal, experienced first responders out on the field and supplement from there. We're going to get the money for the infrastructure that we need. We're going to rebuild our power systems.
Mhm.
And all this will reduce the destitute. It will reduce the hopelessness. We're going to bring hemp factories to town to provide the jobs. The hemp can be used for a multitude of things, not just the delta THCs and whatnot that the kids like to use to have a good time. And by kids, I mean people younger than me, over 21. Um, there's so much opportunity to reduce the crimes by providing opportunity, and that's what I'm going to do.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's pretty good to know because, especially for Cubans, we live a country behind, which is a total like plunge in cows and no security or safety for their citizens. And now you have so much crime rising up in this city that we are kind of like sometimes thinking about, okay, we came to America to have more security and prosperity, but it's not happening. And I feel, and this is my opinion, this is not the candidate opinion. In my opinion, this is due to more the left leaning policies from the city government. That's basically my next question to you, because you're running as a Republican. And we know Republican defends the conservative values and family, faith, and traditional values of the American society. But in the last years, the left-leaning policies has been taking over the whole city. We got the 2020 riots, which basically destroyed the downtown in Louisville, and many businesses has to leave because of the destruction, the mass destruction they have there. So for the Cubans, especially, we came to this country because we reject socialism and, of course, all the left leaning policies from any government or any type of government, especially when they interfere in your daily life or your kids' education. So, my question to you is, how you going to fight against all those left leaning policies?
Well, we have to return to constitutionality.
Mhm.
We have to hold the Constitution up to everything that's been passed for the last 3 or 4 decades to get this cleaned up. As far as cleaning, we can delete 2 regulations for every new regulation that we try to put on the books. Make that a requirement because it's convoluted. The policies are weaseled in there and woven into where you don't even see them until they take
Mhm.
effect. The bills and policies that are being passed in reality should probably be no more than 10 pages just so that we could have a good understanding of what's going on instead of being bombarded by thousands or hundreds of pages at
Mhm.
once with no time to really investigate. um, the Marxism, I'm well versed in Solinsky's rules for radicals. I understand the policies and how they put them in place, and I know where it comes from. So I know what to look for to keep it from happening any further, and I know what to look for to find where it's been done thus far. Um, there will be no place for it in schools. There
Okay.
will be a lot more options as far as schooling goes as well. The charter options, homeschools, individual teachers wanting to become entrepreneurs. I'm going to make all that option with the funding that comes from the city and state and federal. Um, you should have, as a parent, a lot more control over the education of your children and not just leave that into what seems to be the control of an inept city government.
Mhm.
The DEI policies are a blatant smack in the face of civil rights. Um, it's all about Marxism, causing division. Um, I will not let that stand. I believe that some things should be socialized, like pulling the homeless off the street. That has its place, but it is in a open market that we're going to do the best, and we have to train our children that from the beginning, and we have to make that known as the most successful opportunities yet is coming in full capitalism, not crony capitalism, which is what we're seeing a lot of in the United States right now, but full capitalism.
Okay, it's pretty good. You mentioned that about the education because I feel the education is the key to a better society. If you get your kids better educated, they must probably like to be successful in life. They don't need to depend on government, like always the socialists trying to move the agenda to that way. So, speaking about education, we know we have so many issues with the public education in Louisville, Kentucky. And this is something that most of the Cuban parents has been telling me in the last few months they are worried about the agendas they're pushing on the kids on the schools, and especially the woke agenda and the gender agenda and all of that. And coming from Cuba, we have different values that you know. Even like traditionals or faith values that do not do not align with our values. That's my next question for you, because this is very important with all the Cuban parents. We have the ability to decide about what our kids will get as an education. But in the last few years, seeing all those the radical agenda on the public education, we kind of start to doubt that we are be over controlling our kids' education in the near future. So my question for you is pretty simple: what's your agenda? And you just spoke about the charter school, which is one of the options for the kids' education. But what's your agenda for the public education to eliminate all these radical Marxist left-leaning ideology?
Well, it's a smack in the face to civil liberties. It's a smack in the face to equal rights. It
Mhm.
goes completely against the Constitution. It can be wiped off the board the day that I step in. No more. The DEI officer, can't recall his name at the moment, I'll replace him with an accountant.
Okay.
And I'm going to start accounting for everything. JCPS has lost hundreds
Mhm.
of millions of dollars in 1 year. All of us want to know where is the money going? And talking about my family's tradition in business. Well, my name is it's actually from a city on the island of Sicily. It, the city is named the same as me. I'm Sicilian, and we know what money laundering looks like, and I see it everywhere. And I'm getting sick and tired of it. I'm watching everything in the city fall apart, including the schools and education. As Jefferson County stands, we bring down the scores for all of Kentucky. As big as this city is, it should be the opposite, but it's
Mhm.
not. And that's obviously because of either criminal malfeasance or criminal neglect. Regardless, it's criminal either way. I will completely decentralize JCPS. Any teacher that wants to become a small business owner will have that opportunity right then and there. Or they can stay with the schools, and we will take a look at what schools we need to keep open. We will take a look at the population that decides to keep going with the education that we provide as a city, and we will make it the best that we can with zero DEI or socialist programming. None of that will ever be allowed. It is a smack in the face of everything that the Western culture, the best culture, has ever strived to build.
Okay. Okay. Well, pretty interesting. You are going that way because even on the education side, people sometimes they rely on the teachers on the school to teach your kids what is wrong or what is right, and that's something that I'm trying to aware put on everyone on notice, like especially the Cuban parents, like do not let other people to decide what your kids have to learn or not. You are the one who decide what your kids' education should be. Because coming from Cuba, we got that in there. Like, there's no, people say, like, oh, free education is not education, it's indoctrination. Because
You get what
you
you
have
pay
to,
for.
Yes, you have to follow under the guidelines of an agenda, a Marxist agenda. If you don't follow those guidelines, at some point they want to start trying to target your kid as a problematic or a troublemaker or something like that. And that's especially why I'm trying to warn every single Cuban here, like, this is not Cuba. This is no, the socialist system. This is America. You should decide what your kids are learning, especially on which school you want to send your kids. Public education in the last few years, of course, has, as you mentioned before, they've been using our tax money to implement that agenda. And I feel that's not right. If we're paying for the public education, we should decide which education we want for our kids. But also, you just mentioned something about the capitalize the education, which I'm all the way in with you there. Give the teachers the ability to open like a, like a business and make their agenda being successful or not within the community. Speaking about business and small businesses, as a fact, the Cuban community is one of the biggest small business owner community in the city. I'll say the immigrant community, and but we know as a fact too that sometimes we face too many regulations from the local government to be able to open a business or get permits and all of that. But also, in the last few years, more higher taxes are hitting those small businesses, and people are getting like a little bit tired of that because we feel like more taxes doesn't really means we are getting better choices, And that's my next question to you. What's your plan to try to reduce those lower taxes, the local taxes in the business? And also, what's your agenda to reduce all this bureaucracy to obtain any permits or try to eliminate a little bit of the regulations?
Okay. We're going to audit everything.
All
Okay.
right.
Um, that includes the regulations, the laws on the books, not to
Mhm.
mention how the money is being spent in all the civil branches and civil aligned branches. We're going to take a look at everything. I'm going to hire the most burned auditors to go take a look and dig. And we're going to make it to where you have to knock two regulations off for every one new regulation you deem important. Um, that way, we will eventually slim down the regulations to what is actually necessary instead of what is just some uh, show. We will also be usurping the properties around town that are being abandoned by businesses
Mhm.
and those properties available via grants for small business owners to have 1 year, 2 year, 3 years to build up without having to pay a lease on their startup. I've seen that work successfully around the country, and it's ridiculous that we don't do it here.
Mm.
Um, as far as taxes, my goal is to make Louisville into a booming hemp production town. We can make plastic out of it. We can make cloth out of it. We can make concrete out of it. That's, God only knows the limitations of what we can make out of the hemp in the state that grows and is only being used for making recreational products.
Mhm.
We're wasting all that raw material that we could be making a huge profit off of. It's about $12 million to start up a single hemp factory. I've had the conversations. And that would provide anywhere from say starting out 80 to 100 jobs, and within 2 to 3 years of production, 3 to 500 jobs. We get enough of those started up in the city, taxes will be seriously reduced, and I would eventually like to take property tax, the burden of, away from the disabled, the veterans, the retired, and the civil servants.
Okay.
Maybe someday everybody, but starting with that list.
All right. Okay, well, I feel is pretty clear your message, but also I want you to send a message for the Cuban community or the Hispanic community who haven't decided yet which candidate to vote. Just a brief message why they should vote for Datilo, the D, on the ballot on May the 19th.
Well, I've got a standing history of standing up for everybody around me that's needed. Since I've been a man, I've always put my efforts into getting people who were down off the ground in any way that I can. I learned to heal others and myself. I learned to repair the problems that they were facing and get them into new situations. Same for myself. I've also, over the last several years, worked with hundreds of Cubans in Geek Squad City. Some of them may be watching right now. And I am very familiar with their trials of dealing with socialism and what it's like on the farm side of Cuba. And I vow that's never going to happen. Not here. Not with me in the mayor's office.
Okay, well, good luck on your race. I'm looking forward to check your name on the ballot. How are you going to appear on the ballot?
Well, on the ballot, it's like this: S for Stephen, the D in parentheses, and Datillo with two T's at the end.
Okay. Okay. Well, good luck to you, sir, and I'm looking forward to having you on the roster for the anti-socialist candidates within the community, and I hope to see you pretty soon.
All right. Everybody that wants to find out more about me can go to www.dattilo, that's Dattilo, 2026.com for my policies and my work histories. You can also find me on Facebook as Stephen Dattilo, and I am on Twitter as Mr. Dattilo.
Okay. So thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for the interview, and good luck for your race.
Thank you very much, sir. I'll see you soon.
I'll see you. Bye.